Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Make this a little bit bigger for you. So Earl Spence is going to be back in the ring in April. There's a lot of people. This is what's so funny about this, right? The man's coming back. Obviously, whatever injuries he sustained from the car accident, they weren't that bad. So thank God he had a vehicle made out of bulletproof materials. And that essentially is what protected him in that car accident, because that was a bad car accident that he was in. I'm talking about the one here recently, not from a couple of years ago. But as far as Earl Spence returning, you get people coming out here talking about, oh, he's going to be fighting Crawford. Oh, no, Earl Spence is going to come back. He's fighting Sebastian Fundora. Look, man, no one knows who he's fighting. But if we do a little deductive reasoning here, right, we kind of look at what's out there. We kind of look at what sanctioning bodies have said, and we look at who's already committed to fights. The only logical opponent for Earl Spence is Keith Thurman. Okay? Now, Earl Spence is not going to give up his WBC belt. He's not going to allow himself to be stripped. He's got to fight Keith Thurman. So when I see people posting stuff out here, they need to stop it. Now, don't get me wrong. Boxing is corrupt. Anything can happen. But at this point, remember, Keith Thurman, the WBC still owes Keith Thurman an opportunity to win his belt back because no one beat him for that belt. Okay? So we got to understand, he gave up that belt voluntarily. Gave it up because he knew he wasn't active. So when you look at that and the fact that Keith Thurman has been made the mandatory, it's kind of hard for me to even, foresee Earl Spence getting in the ring with someone other than Keith Thurman in April. And that's perfect because Earl Spence wants to fight 3 times in a year. So he comes in there and gets in the ring with Keith Thurman. Then after that, Earl Spence is going to have all uphill battles because now I'm not saying he's going to beat Keith Thurman. He should, just we look at who's been active, who's been inactive. But something else we need to be real about is the amount of weight Earl Spence is carrying on him right now. He's still not as disciplined as he needs to be. He's not. Remember, after he had that first accident, he came back. He even talked about it, leaving the alcohol alone, not ballooning up so much in between fights, having to cut, 40 pounds plus, 50 pounds. That's crazy. Having to cut that in a camp and then come in the ring. So he hired a nutritionist and he's doing better. But if you look at him now, he's got some weight on him. So I don't know how much weight he has to cut, but he's got some weight on him. So for him to melt down to 147, I'm going to tell y'all right now, against a motivated Keith Thurman, y'all can say what you want. You really think Keith Thurman is not going to put the work in training camp? He's not going to push himself to the limit? Everyone keeps acting like Keith Thurman doesn't have discipline. All of these fighters have discipline. All of these fighters are special. But I get it. Keith Thurman hasn't been active. I get it. I totally get it. But Sugar Ray Leonard was out the ring for a while, and he came back for Hagler, didn't he? And what did he do to Hagler? So what I'm saying is, he just can't write Keith Thurman off. Plus, he's got power. And EJ is chinny. I've said this before. I got some flack for it. Just like Keith Thurman, if he gets hit clean to the body, he starts to look real uncomfortable in the ring. You hit EJ on the chin, he starts to look real uncomfortable on the ring. Starts spitting up mouthpieces, dancing salsa, body waving. Those are facts. So don't tell me that the same way Earl Spence can catch Keith Thurman to the body, which is what a lot of us expect for there to be an aggressive body attack. Don't tell me that Keith Thurman, in those first 4 rounds especially, don't tell me he won't touch Earl Spence on the chin. He's going to touch him. But we're going to see how clean he catches him, and we're going to see how Earl Spence responds. Now, Keith Thurman sometimes has a habit of throwing arm punches. He likes to sit on his feet, and he's a free swinger. Keith Thurman, when he starts letting his shots go, he swings like a Turogati. Now, if you're watching this video and you with me to this point, yeah, of course, the like, subscribe, donate, yeah, I appreciate it. But what I'm getting at is you must be living underneath the rock if you don't know who the hell Arturo Gatti is and you don't understand what I mean by being a free swinger. I mean a guy who gets all his weight behind his punches. And that's how Keith Thurman is. And I'm telling you he's going to land on Earl Spence, just like Earl Spence is going to land on him. It's just a matter of seeing who can handle what they're dishing out. Now, I will say this, because I'm not biased, like majority of the people out here who create these videos. I'm not biased. Earl Spence has a better engine. I mean, for that reason, I'm giving Earl Spence the edge in the fight because that man just keeps going and going. And Keith Thurman has showed that he doesn't become drop dead tired, but fatigue sets in on Keith Thurman in the shows, where Earl Spence just keeps pushing and picking up steam as the fight progresses. So for that reason, I had to give Earl Spence the edge. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. But going forward, we'll see who Earl Spence is going to be fighting. But I'm telling you, after he fights Keith Thurman, if he beats him, which people expect him to, but let's just say he does beat him, Earl Spence has to fight the winner of Stanionis and Virgil Ortiz, which is a hard fight. And then after that, he has to fight, Boots Ennis. So what we could see, because Boots Ennis is fighting in January, he's not going to want to wait out the ring to the end of the year. So Boots Ennis could end up fighting, I doubt, Terrence Crawford, because Boots Ennis is fighting for that IBF. So it makes him mandatory to Spence. They're not going to come now. He may do it, but I can't see him now coming and fighting Terrence Crawford. I see the IBF making, could be Conor Benn now, could be Alexis Rocha. One of those guys, the mandatory to keep Terrence Crawford. And I see Earl Spence and I see Boots Ennis. If he decides to take another fight, not wait 8 months or however long to fight Earl Spence, if Earl Spence can get past Keith Thurman and the winner of Stanionis Victor Ortiz, Jerome Boots Ennis may have an opportunity to fight, a Blair Cobb or someone else at 147, just to stay busy. And then, get to Earl Spence later in the year. But it could end up where he fights Terrence Crawford. But I just doubt Terrence Crawford is going to do that because he's going to have a mandatory. And Boots Ennis is not going to be his mandatory because Boots Ennis is fighting in a title eliminator for the IBF. So once he fights that and wins that fight, he's going to be over there in the IBF. He'll have nothing to do with the WBO anymore. So y'all just pay attention. And don't get mad when Terrence Crawford has to fight a damn Conor Benn or Alexis Rocha. And I'm also hearing that Terrence Crawford's in talks to be fighting Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor's going to use that champion in recess status, bubble up to 147, fight Crawford. If he loses, he goes back down to 140. He's still a champion. So that's something that I hear is brewing as well. So y'all just pay attention. More to come on these guys. But give Keith Thurman some credit, man. He's never been knocked out. He got knocked down by Pacquiao, a little flash knockdown. And we keep talking about his body. And I'll admit, you look at Collazo hit him with that body shot. Horrible. Keith Thurman looked like he's ready to run out that damn ring. But Keith Thurman has never been knocked out or knocked down from no damn body shot. Okay? So put some respect on his name. But that being said, I'll be glad when Earl Spence stops talking in code and he just comes out and says he's fighting Keith Thurman. It's like, stop talking in all the damn code and just let us tell us what we want to hear. You and Keith Thurman, and then who's going to be after that? And I have a feeling it's going to be the winner of that WBA title eliminator. Although, actually not even eliminator. Stanionis has the regular title, so whoever wins that is going to be after Thurman. But that being said, y'all keep cool. More to come. I'm in the breeze.